My name is Connor.
My name is Rye.
We're the hosts of the pod.
We sure are. Do you want to tell them what the pod is?
I do want to tell them what the pod is. The pod is a podcast where we interview. I say interview when it's not really it's more of a conversation with we're gonna try and do like all the teachers, just all the teachers at Assabet, every teacher.
Well, we're gonna try.
We're starting with teachers of design and visual for the first couple episodes because it was the easiest to schedule. I say easiest, but easiest in quotation marks.
I've been trying to get this out since December.
Yeah. So we just go around. We have certain questions that are more topic based, so we can kind of go wherever we end up going with the conversation from that, and we usually talk for about 30 to 45 minutes. And that's what the pod is.
Very eloquent description of the pod.
Yeah, nice. So before we get to today's guest,
Very quaint.
That's not the correct word.
That means what, like little and cozy?
Yeah.
Or something? That's quaint.
Something like that.
What's the definition of quaint?
Anyway,
I'm gonna look up
you
the
look it up
definition of quaint.
while I talk. So before we get started with our first guest, I have a question for you, Rye.
Okay.
What is your favorite Adobe product?
I like Premiere because I like video editing. But I say none of them because each of them gives me their own little problems that I get frustrated with. But I enjoy using all Adobe products.
But Premiere is like
Premiere is the best. Premiere or After Effects. I've been using After Effects more recently, and it's a lot of fun. After Effects is a lot of fun.
But After Effects, man.
Oh man.
I love After Effects. I love when you can finally finish a project in After Effects and then you export it and it's done.
God.
And you have that MOV file and you just click on it and it
the
converts
best.
and then you watch it and
None
it's
of the
amazing.
people listening know what we're talking about.
I don't care.
Okay, so I found the definition of quaint.
You found the definition of quaint?
It's attractively unusual or old-fashioned.
Oh. Quaint. So like an old dock is quaint. It's like wait, what is it? Unusually attractive?
Yep.
Yeah.
I usually think of like cottages in the woods.
Yeah.
So, today's guest is Mr. May,
The video side teacher of design and visual.
who he's great.
He's great.
He's such a good teacher.
Such a good man.
Yeah, this is true. He's a lot of fun to be around.
And he's a great teacher. He teaches us so well. I've learned so much about video and audio and honestly even like graphics from Mr. May, because like
he taught me how to make title cards.
Yeah, I'll be like creating a video and he'll be like, hey, like you should make a title card for this or a thumbnail for the video, and I'm like, all right, cool. And I'll go in and I'll make a video or make a thumbnail and he'll come over and he'll be like, what if you like fix this so it's more like this and this and this, and he'll
when you were making the logo for Aztecs Radio, he's helped you with that, right?
Assabet Radio, yeah. He did help me along with that, all three teachers helped me with that. We're waiting right now to get the approval for that, and I'm hoping for that to be done by the end of either today or tomorrow, so I can start working on the animation for this to be out on Friday.
Exciting.
All right, we're going to move on to our guest, and we will talk to you guys at the end of the show.
Left, right, left, 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 right, left.
Everyone has a talent, everyone has a skill. There's room for everyone in this world, and ROTC is about leadership. It's about innate qualities that we all possess, and what this program does is it really brings out those qualities of everyone. It's an amazing thing to stand up here and look at young people and watch them progress.
We do physical fitness once a week, but we tell all the students, for everybody, just participate on the level that you can participate. Working with students, helping mentor those students that have goals of maybe going into the service, whether it's going off to college or just even getting a job, just working with them to aspire to achieve their goals.
After 3 or 4 years, you could just see people entirely come out of their shell and grow into these adults. At this level, dealing with 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds, it's inspiring for me to sit here and watch that happen.
Our first guest today is Mr. Mang. Would you like to say hello?
I would. Hello.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate that you're doing this. You're doing a very fine job, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We have obviously a couple questions here, and
Great.
10 minutes to fit all it in. All right. So first question is, how long have you been working at Assabet?
9 years.
9 years.
Yes.
Wow.
Gosh.
That's like almost 10.
Almost a decade, yeah. And it's gone quick. It's as you get older, I heard this when I was a young person, as you get older, the time goes by quicker, and they were right. It does. It does not feel like almost 10 years.
It's wild.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't feel like we've been here for 3 years. It feels like it's
Right.
been a couple months.
Oh
Right.
God, we've been here for 3 years.
We've been here for 3 years.
Right.
It's wild. All right, next question.
What shop are you a teacher in, and what do you teach in that shop?
I am in design and visual, and I concentrate on the video audio portion of that piece of curriculum.
AKA podcasting. Cough, cough.
Podcasting is now falling into that, yes. And
Such
thank you.
as what we are currently doing.
Yes.
Cough, cough.
All right, next question is, what is your favorite part about being a teacher and about being a shop teacher?
By far, the best thing about being a shop teacher is the fact that we get to do a lot of live jobs. And I would consider this something like that, too. You know, you're working with technical equipment, you're getting a team together, you're working together as a team. And for me, that is so fulfilling. We were at Westboro TV studio yesterday, and we produced a Aztecs live show. And we had a lot of events that people edited together, and it was their part to do. And then it all came together, and we had a team of about 9 people yesterday. And when the show was over, you could see the satisfaction in everyone's faces. I mean, it was just a great day. Everyone knew that they did their piece. They came together as part of a team. And for me, that's a beautiful, beautiful feeling. You can feel it deep in your chest, you know. It's just so much of a satisfying thing. And that's when it's really running well. And it's so rewarding. And I enjoy working with the young people of Assabet. The classes that we have right now, we're very, very fortunate. A lot of great people are in that class, and I get great fulfillment out of working with those people.
All right, thank you. Next is that one.
I thought you were going to read.
My bad.
Please share with me an example of how you helped coach or mentor someone.
Yeah, you know, there's 2 things that happen. Assabet does offer a mentoring program. So if your guidance counselor feels you might need some help, or if a parent or guardian feels that a student needs help, they can ask for a mentor. And I happen to be in the mentoring program here at Assabet. So what that involves in is working with the student, finding out what their grades are, talking with them, finding out what difficulties they may be having. It's the opposite too. What are you enjoying? What are you doing well at? Talking with their teachers, being in contact with their parents and guardians, and helping them out. So I think the key thing is communication, and good communication on both sides and on all sides will eventually bring success. So that's why I'm in that mentor program, and I really enjoy it. Again, it's about relationships, and I really enjoy it. But also in the classroom, you know, as a teacher, all teachers will tell you, you do also need to be a mentor there. There are folks that are naturals and they're doing really well, and then there are some folks that struggle a little bit. And it does, again, it has to come down to communication. It has to, whether that's doing a one-on-one with someone, hey, how's it going? I notice you might be having a little trouble with this. Is there anything I can do to help? And then it opens up those doors. You might start finding out why they're having trouble with it. Maybe they just felt a little intimidated about something. Like in our shop, it might be something technical. They just didn't feel comfortable working with it. They needed more experience. So my philosophy on that and mentoring is much like a sports philosophy, or you two are in drama, you know, the drama philosophy, which is a team philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's approaching that person and having them practice a little more. I'm sure you find that in drama. You know, you might be a little nervous about something, or the lines aren't coming out of the mouth that well, or at first. But as you practice it a little more, and sometimes you make adjustments, and then it becomes more comfortable. And I think that's the key on mentoring. It does come down to practice, and it does. The first step, though, is communication.
Yeah, that's really a huge thing. What's the next question?
Share an experience you had dealing with a difficult person and how you handled the situation.
Well, it's funny, I could talk long on this one, and when you ask me this question, I don't know why, but I think the first thing I think about is when I made a big mistake, because it's true. You often learn from your mistakes. And I remember my first year as a teacher, there was a student that had a lot of drama and almost seemed to love the drama, really. But there was always tears, there was always screaming, and it was always happening in the middle of theories in the classroom. And my mistake was calling that person out. And, you're not going to be doing that here. We're not going to put up with that here right now. And it just made things a little worse. Whereas I think sometimes with a difficult person, you have to realize no matter what the situation is, there's probably a reason that they're being difficult. There's something that really is going on that's bothering them, or something that happened to them, and there's a reason that they feel that they need to shout out a little bit right now. So I think the approach that I learned from that is you try to move on from that situation. So if we're doing a theory in class, you get through that theory. If that person's having trouble, hey, we'll talk after class. We'll help you out. We'll get some help for you. But right now we've got to get through that theory. And I found that simple approach works. But the minute you try to call somebody out in front of their peers, which I did do, I thought I was supposed to do that when I first walked in. I thought I was supposed to be a disciplinarian to do that. And I found out real quick that's not the right thing to do. So I guess I learned from that, and I think that's become a philosophy that I would like to say has worked since year one in dealing with difficult situations.
All right, thank you.
Can you share an experience in which you successfully shared a piece of information?
A difficult piece of information.
Yeah.
Well, what's great about working in a school system, and you'll hear this from so many teachers, is you do get close to so many people. You do. You get close to your peers, the other teachers, administrators. You do get certainly close to the students that you work with on a daily basis, right? We work together all day long. We don't have periods in a shop format, so we really get to know each other really, really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we work on live jobs, and we go out on field trips and work on live jobs. We get to know each other really well.
Almost as coworkers and not teachers
Yep.
and students. It definitely has this different bond than going to just a normal school.
Absolutely. And I was at a very, very good school, but when the opportunity at Assabet arose, it was something that I looked at and I said, wow, okay, that's going to reduce my commute. And I am a family person, so I love being around a school and involved in a school, but I also like to be involved with my family. And I started evaluating that, and it reduced my commute by half. And then I always heard so many good things about Assabet, that they had a pretty good budget for their shops and things of that nature. There's just a lot of things that I was evaluating, and I said, you know what, I think I might make that jump as much as I really enjoyed the school that I was working at. And it became difficult because just like you said, Connor and Adrien, you develop those bonds with a lot of people. So it was difficult to share that information. And it was interesting, the superintendent in a funny way told me, because we had done a lot together. They had a shop for radio television that they never had before, and we built it up. And we had an advisory board built it up, so we got really close. And the superintendent joked with me saying that she wanted to throw me through a window. But you know what? It was a good thing to know that, these people, there's a caring thing. We did something that mattered.
Yeah.
But it was still difficult information. And then with the students, you're going to miss those folks. But in your journey, you're moving on too. You're here for 4 years. I guess some people are here on the 5-year plan, but most people 4 years and you move on, and that's kind of a natural progression. But that was a difficult piece of information for me to share with people. There were tears and emotions, and that was difficult.
Well, I'd just like to say that I'm really glad you came here.
Oh,
'Cause
thanks.
I now
yeah.
get to do this. It's great. So.
All right. So how do you organize, plan, and prioritize your work with live jobs and I guess they're almost like simulated jobs for the students to learn different parts of the curriculum?
Great. Well, for me, I'm going to do a little commercial here for Schoology. I am a huge fan of it. I was turned on to Schoology about 5 years ago. Prior to that, I had a million folders filled with a bunch of papers and notes stacked 5 feet high, and that was very difficult to manage, and for me anyway. Some people can manage really well that way. Schoology is an electronic version where everything goes on, students see it, I see it, We can put in essential questions. We can put in the exact assignment and what the steps are needed for the student. What's beautiful about that is if you're absent, you can log on at home if you have the internet and you can see what the assignment is. We often will put examples in there too so that you can catch up, and even though you missed the day, you can still see some of the examples and still be caught up even if you missed the day. I love that about Schoology. You know, in the past, if someone was absent, you'd have to try to catch them up, and of course that that can be a time management issue as well. So I totally manage myself through Schoology, and I find that it's a great way to have evidence of what the students are doing. Students have great evidence of what we're asking of them as instructors. And then from there, like you said, with live jobs, we have partnerships. So I'll talk about that, quickly. Is that some of the partnerships like Shrewsbury Media Connection, Westboro TV, those are two big popular ones that we've had. They have hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment that we don't have here, and they allow us to use that. So in that partnership, it allows us to schedule out and produce shows there. So we'll use that often. And it also gives us an opportunity for those students to get experience and possibly gain co-op experience where they get paid. Instead of coming to see myself, Mr. Whitney, Ms. Harper, they're getting paid their senior year. So I have found that very, very important to tie in the outside world and outside businesses, and I think it's very, very important to have that in our curriculum. And then as far as other live jobs, sometimes that's on a whim. We'll have people from the community that all of a sudden on Tuesday give us a call and say we have this job and we have to evaluate it. And the most important thing about that evaluation is we love doing that for the students. We think there's no substitute for doing real jobs. I personally feel it's better than curriculum. Curriculum's nice because you get exposed to it, you get to practice it. But when you're really working with someone that says, this is how I want it to look, this is what I really want it, this is how I want my story to go, there's no substitute for that. That is great experience. But it has to tie into what we're trying to do here within our curriculum as well. It can't be a project that is going to take all your time all year long. A person needs to go to a production house for that. But if it ties in to our curriculum, we'll manage that and try to tie that in and make that part of our curriculum as well. So there's a lot going on.
Yeah, I definitely understand that with not necessarily just this, but this does help with that. But also when I help like Nicole with the playbill, and sometimes she'll want something different, and we have to change it and stuff like that. So I understand. Yeah. I understand having to work with a specific person and to tailor it to what they want.
Which is a great point.
Now, speaking of all that work, some people think that design visual doesn't really do that much work. Mm-hmm. How do you combat this thinking?
Well, I think one of the things that we did just this year as an initiative is we set up a TV monitor out in the hallway across from the classrooms of design and visual, and we're now putting out the work that students are doing. Most of it right now is promotional. It's promoting the school. So right now, for example, the basketball team, they only had one loss. They're going through a playoff system. They've had a very successful year. And we've covered just about, someone from Design and Visual has covered every single home game. And we're promoting that out in the hallway. But there's a lot that's going on. So hopefully, when the bell rings and people are walking by, they're looking and they're saying, hey, look at that. This is Design and Visual covered that. Oh, Design and Visual was there. Oh, Design and Visual was there and covered that. Oh, I didn't know that about the school. Oh, Design and Visual covered that. And I just learned something about the school. We have been using Vimeo as an account for several years now. I think it's maybe about 6. People always ask me, why aren't you using YouTube? Well, we can, and students are going to help us get that up and going. But with Vimeo, we don't have commercials on it, and it doesn't send you off to other sites. It keeps it with related information. So that's why we're using Vimeo. But that has now been tied in, especially this year. We've worked with the PR department of Assabet to make sure that anything that we're doing that promotes the school video and audio-wise also goes to the PR department and is uploaded through social media. So I think a lot of people make comments, great job, design and visual students, really loved your coverage of that. And I think that has helped to change anything that people might have said that addresses what you initially asked me. So that's been the big action item on my part, and I can only speak on that small piece of the pie that I get to have.
I know I've definitely heard people walking by in the hallway talking about the TV.
Yeah.
Chief actually stopped by while I was working on it and said that he thought we were doing a great job with it.
Great.
I've definitely seen the basketball has a good audience. Yeah. Everyone walks by and says, "Oh, hey, look, I was at that game," or
Yeah.
"That's me," or something like that. So it definitely is cool.
And we obviously, it's not just sports. People will always ask me that too. Why is it just sports? Well, we know there's a big audience in sports, but we do other things too. You'll be working on a junior ROTC, which is a fantastic program here at Assabet, and you'll be doing a promo on them. I mentioned earlier in this interview that yesterday we were at Westboro TV and we produced the Aztecs Live show, and that will feature a bunch of packages on different things that are going on in the school right now and being highlighted, and that will be our feature program next week that we'll be playing throughout the week.
All right, thank you. And our last question today, what do you think about these podcasts?
I think it's a really, really important piece that's being added into our curriculum. And I think it's really interesting because we do have an advisory board. For people that don't know, people that are out in the industry have volunteered to serve on a board, and they advise the teachers of the program. And we also have some students representation as well. And they tell us what's hot out in the community. They tell us, hey, here's the hot software that you really need. It's going to be around for a while. This is really what you need to be exposing the students to. Or here's techniques that you should be using. Or here's what you should be doing. So podcasting is something that we hear often from our advisory board as something that we should be doing. So I also wanted to just take this time. Emmerich Felmar is on our advisory board, and last year he has so many contacts out in the field. He works for WGBH at Channel 2. He does all of their engineering for public television, and he has a great relationship with folks at WEEI. So a lot of this donated equipment that you're working with, which is awesome, it's not something that they had to throw out because it was bad. It's still really good equipment. He got that going. We didn't have it in our budget at the time for podcasting, but he made it happen. So I want to really thank Emmerich, and I really want to thank WEI for getting that in here. And and for those that are listening to this podcast, what you two did with it, Connor and Adrien, and other students as well, you're having this great opportunity to technically work with cables, the XLR cables, your jack cables. You're working with HDMI cables, USB connections, getting it into the computer so that you can use hardware, that you can use your audio boards, you can use these great mics, which I think sound great, and you're tying it into the software, and you cabled it all up. That's an engineering, that's a technical job. Congratulations, job well done.
Thank you.
And it also expresses what a lot of the things that we can do here in design and visual. You'll hear more about it, other aspects from Ms. Harper and Mr. Whitney, but you're doing a lot of technical things, and then you need to get creative with it. How are we going to help tell this story with music, or with your interviews, or with sound effects, or with special effects? And you're really doing a great job moving this forward. So I think it's a great way, podcasting, to learn about our school, to promote our school, just like we have done with video. But it is a different format. A lot of times you can really get in depth with people and learn a lot about them through the podcasting. And what I also love about it is it's something that if you're in the car, you can download, you can play it on your phone. We can listen to these podcasts on the way home.
It's not prioritized by video, because a lot of podcasts are prioritized by video, and what I mean by that is like you can't understand it fully unless you're watching the video, which is not what we want from this. We want to be able to have it be just an audio thing, and because we introduce everyone when we're talking and stuff like that, so everyone knows who's who and stuff like that. So we want it to be less video prioritized, more audio. I mean, obviously you're listening to it, so.
Oh, and there's so much that you'll be doing with audio. You can really, as they say, paint a picture. When you don't have the video that's going along with it, you're using sound effects. So if we're talking about nature and we're hearing the wind rustling and we hear a stream going, that really challenges our mind to create those images. And I think that's so much fun about podcasting and the audio, when you can start doing that and make people think and visualize. It's powerful.
All right. Thank you for having us. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
It was great to talk to you.
Have
you ever wanted to visit Iceland or Greece? Well, you're in luck, because here at Assabet Valley, we have the Travel Club, run by Miss McCann. The Travel Club allows you to sign up for these trips to other countries currently headed towards Iceland. While the Iceland trip is almost full, it certainly won't be your only opportunity. Talk to Miss McCann in the Math Wing if you're interested.
I hope you guys did enjoy that. I definitely enjoy talking to him so much.
It's such a fun time. I love him. Alright, so we hope you guys enjoyed. We certainly did. Now we're going to talk about some people who helped us.
Yeah, we just want to thank all the people who helped us create this first episode of the pod. It was a lot of fun to create. It took a while, and there was a lot of help. So, obviously, got to thank Rye. Thank you, man.
I got to thank Connor. You did most of the work.
Hey, you know, it happens. You
did most of the recording work. I did most of the editing work.
Yeah, alright. Yeah.
Alright.
So
we also have to thank our guest and our producer, Mr. May.
Mr. May, good man.
Yep.
Actually, I'm going to thank, in this episode, all 3 of our guests for the first 3 episodes who were amazing with problems with scheduling. We had to reschedule a couple, and they were just totally on board with it all. So thank you, Mr. May. Thank you, Miss Harper, and thank you, Mr. Whitney. Great people, great teachers. We also want to thank Andy Dolan, our studio manager, basically.
Basically.
He's kind of in charge of this back room at this point. He does a great job back here, though. He does a great job in general. He keeps it together, helping out the freshmen and everything. It's good.
I want to thank Eric Quay, who helped me with inspiration and creativity and figure out what I'm supposed to be doing on this.
Oh yeah. What a good man. Love Eric.
Yeah, Eric's great.
Eric is great. I think that's everyone that we need to thank for this episode.
I believe that is. All right. And
well, actually, one more. Thank you guys for watching.
You were such a loser.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say that though, so I can't really.
But yeah, definitely.
But yeah, thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, listening.
Sort of both. There's a cool animation that I made. There's 3 cool animations that I made actually.
Oh, that's true.
So yeah.
All right, so we hope you guys enjoyed this first episode of the pod. There will be more to come, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Oh, we forgot to talk about ads.
Also, we had some lovely
ad commercials, I guess.
We put some commercials.
School advertisements, we'll say.
School advertisiums.
That was a big word.
It's not a real word. So.
Moving on to the ads, we want to thank...
Oh, that's what else Eric helped me with.
Eric did help us with the ads.
Eric helped me specifically.
Actually, both of us with the ads.
He did my voiceover in the travel ad for Miss McCann's Travel Club, which you will be joining them for. Sounds like a lot of fun.
We also want to thank who helped you with the theater ad? A lot of people.
The theater ad isn't going to be in this episode,
but still,
it's okay. So we've got Connor O'Hare, which is you. I was in it. Joe Chalmers. We've got Eric Quay, who did the full voiceover for it. We've got Ryan Bennett in it. We've got Lily Sullivan. We've got Nicholas Hoole. We have
a lot of people.
There are a lot of people.
A lot of people.
Nathan Davidacek. We also have Alex Zucker. We have Amber Thatonia.
I think that's everyone.
I believe that is
everyone. Do we have a voiceover from Miss Trippy for that?
We do not. She's the drama club director, the person you should speak to if you want to join drama club.
We do want to thank her, though, because she gave us the go-ahead to make this ad.
Yes, she is wonderful.
As for the ROTC ad that you heard, I want to thank both Sergeant Major and Major Chief for their cooperation with it. And I want to thank Margot Jesus. I also want to thank Margot Watu, who did the actual interview where I got the audios from. And I think Andy helped with that one as well. And Nate Purchase also helped, who's a freshman. Go him. Yeah, I think that's everyone.
I believe so, yeah.
But yeah, the biggest thanks has to go to Mr. May for allowing us to be back here and to do this. So thank you, Mr. May.
Definitely. All right. Well, we hope you enjoyed, and we hope you have a wonderful night or day. I don't know what time it is for you. Have a wonderful rest.
Day.
of your
day.
rest of your life.
Have
a
a
wonderful life. Just have a great life.
Have a good
I
one.
love you and support you, and I hope you have a wonderful life.
Stop.
I'm just gonna stop talking.
Bring it back a little. All right. We hope you guys have enjoyed this episode of the pod. If you do, check out the other ones. Unless this is the only one that's out.
Unless this one crashes and burns and we never get to do another one again.
So yeah. We will see you next time we have one of these. And,
Which, for all we know, maybe next year.
have a good one.
Bye.